The latest BBC News is next here on BBC One, followed by Panorama. Highlights on BBC Two of today's Newcastle United and Everton clash in Match of the Day 2. Comedy drama I'm With Stupid is on BBC Three. And of course, BBC Four now is getting all loved up.
Don't blame me.
Don't try and tell me what to do.
You give her back to me. You hurt her and I'll hunt you down.
She's sleepy now. Her eyes are closing.
EastEnders, all this week on BBC One.
They say he's a bit of a charmer.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce some members of my group to you before we go any further. On backing vocals, the Sugar Babes. The man with the beautiful voice, Mr. Marvin Gaye. On the lead guitar is Jimmy Page. On the rhythm guitar, Noel Gallagher. And on the drums, Keith Moon. On bass guitar, Sheryl Crow. And finally on piano, the legendary Stevie Wonder. Play it, Stevie.
Now on BBC One, the news with Darren Jordan.
Tony Blair urges his party to focus on policies, not personalities. At the start of his last conference as leader, he refuses to endorse Gordon Brown as his successor.
I've said all I'm going to say on it. And the reason for that is very, very simple, because this week we should reconnect with the public.
Attacked at a pub in Leicester, Rottweilers kill a 5-month-old baby girl. An emotional victory for Europe. They win golf's Ryder Cup for the 3rd time in a row. And on Panorama, what sort of Prime Minister would Gordon Brown make? Andrew Marr talks to those who want him to get the top job and others who are not so sure. Good evening. At the start of his last Labour conference as Prime Minister, Tony Blair has urged his party to focus on policies, not personalities. In a BBC interview, he said the public were angry at Labour's infighting over the leadership and refused to openly endorse Gordon Brown as his successor. From Manchester, Vicky Young reports.
One man wonders how long it'll be before he's leader. Another thinks about how long he can hang on in the job. But the long goodbye to Tony Blair has begun.
He's been a great leader for our country and an inspiration to our party, and we thank him.
They'd promised a stable and orderly handover of power, but feuding over the leadership finally erupted into the open a few weeks ago. Today, Mr. Blair said it mustn't happen again.
For the first time, certainly since I became leader, the Labour Party went sort of AWOL from the British public. You know, it looked in on itself, it started, you know, all the infighting and all the rest of it. Now, the public out there are angry about that. They don't want to see their government do that. They want us to govern.
So ministers have apparently agreed to talk about policies but not personalities. In the past, Mr. Blair has said Gordon Brown would make a great Prime Minister. So would he endorse him now?
Gordon has been a fantastic Chancellor. He's been a great servant of the country and the party. I don't resolve from anything I've said before. But
including because you hold on a second.
I don't resolve from anything I've said before. But this week, I'm talking to the public about the public's concerns.
But wouldn't it be better to end the speculation?
News of the World says to its readers today, Blair won't back Brown.
So, look, if I worried about everything the newspapers said on a day-to-day basis, I would
but you can clear that up. You can clear that up in 5 seconds.
Yeah, of course. And then that
so
gets
why
you.
not?
And that gets you. I've said all I'm going to say on it.
The Chancellor too seems reluctant to be drawn on the leadership issue. Would he like the Prime Minister to back him?
Tony is still leader of the Labour Party. There is no leadership election at this stage. There is no date. He said he'll give a date at some future time. And look, I'm not going to get into this speculation